Quite some time ago, there was a robotics company called Haltmann Works. They were ruled by quite an iron fist by a man named Max Prophet Haltmann, who had a young daughter named Susanna Patria Haltmann. He worked tirelessly to make plenty of money off of natural resources and robotics and such. But during his excavations of various planets, slowly uncovering new resources and ways of making money, he came across ancient blueprints that detailed the creation of a wish-granting star made of clockwork machinery. Haltmann, enthralled by this discovery, attempts to have his company recreate this machine. And so they worked tirelessly, trying to repair whatever they could find that were perhaps remnants of such a machine. He kept trying and trying, until he ended up with the Access Arc. Though it was incomplete, it was still capable of doing some things, such as helping them fly to distant planets. They could harvest planets at record speeds now. They didn't even need to worry about doing any legwork, really. They could make machines almost instantly with the power of Stardream. But it wasn't complete yet. It couldn't just grant any wish like the clockwork star that was written. So Haltmann continued to work tirelessly until he nearly completed a function called Space-Time Transport Program. And by using this program, Haltmann Works can gain access to entirely new dimensions, not just planets, which would obviously be an amazing feat. But as he's testing out the mechanics, something goes wrong. Haltmann was careless, and his daughter just so happened to be nearby, a young Susie. And as the portal tore open, Susie was sucked inside. Haltmann, screaming for help, could not save his daughter. Haltmann, in his grief, tried hard to find her. He tried begging upon Stardream to grant this one wish, but the incomplete star just couldn't do it. Haltmann would then dedicate himself to finally finishing Stardream. But in using the control helmet that was created alongside Stardream to, control it, Haltmann's mind slowly began to slip away as the broken Stardream sipped upon his memories, incomplete, and perhaps attempting to complete itself by using his own mind. And Haltmann would soon drift into completely forgetting about his daughter and his goal, and the company's view of harvesting planets became even more predatory as his goal became infinite prosperity. Every planet would be completely mechanized, completely taken over, and completely changed using Stardream's power. There would be nothing left on those planets, but metal and millions of Halt bucks in Haltmann's pockets. Someday, though, after traveling across many worlds on her own, Susie would return to Haltmann Works Company. She greeted her father, but he did not remember her, not even a little bit, though she did feel faintly familiar to him. Susie, who was stricken with grief, soon pushed it down, as she was hired as the executive secretary of Haltmann Works. She brought with her the DNA of Doomers, blueprints for ancient war machines for Haltmann Works Company to take advantage of. And Susie, who may have at one point grieved the loss of her father, became disillusioned. Her goal now would be to break Stardream, or perhaps even steal it. Just sell it to anyone, to show her father how much of an idiot he was for abusing it and forgetting about his own kid. She grew cold and lost all interest in attempting to recuperate with her dad. She issued a new target, perhaps based on what she found, or just perhaps due to the proximity. She decided that it was time to target Planet Popstar as the next planet to be harvested by Haltmann Works Company. And so the story of Kirby Planet Robobot begins as Stardream fills the skies of Popstar.
Kirby and Co. are having a great time on Dreamland, very peaceful, and then it gets ruined. They look up to the sky suddenly, and they see this gigantic spear with 5 drill legs as it crashes down into the planet and starts to mechanize it. Dedede and Meta Knight try to fight off against the invading foes, but they ultimately get defeated. So now it's Kirby's turn to go off and defeat whatever is trying to take over Dreamland this time.
Yeah, they're not doing too good. DDD and Meta Knight both get completely demolished, and it really is up to just Kirby now.
Yeah, it literally is up to just Kirby now. They get defeated like very quickly. It's not even funny. And so Kirby, and so Kirby goes through his now mechanized home, fighting familiar and unfamiliar foes. People that have been mechanized, like Wispy Woods.
Oh, okay. So spoilers, Meta Knight. No. Yeah, Wispy Woods.
Like Wispy Woods. And to a twist from the series of King Dedede being possessed by the big bad. No, it's Meta Knight's turn. Susie has kidnapped Meta Knight and has turned him into Mecha Knight. He has now been possessed and mechanized as well. Kirby ultimately defeats him because Kirby is very powerful. Nothing can really stop him, And so Kirby's mission is to destroy all of the 5 mechanical legs that are drilling into the planet to get access to what we come to learn is called the Access Arc. What ends up being Stardream. Yep. And so Kirby finally confronts the president, Max Prophet Haltmann, along with Susie. And Max Prophet Haltmann has no clue who Kirby is. Most people don't, as we've mentioned before, and he just thinks he's an insignificant pink specimen that's just ruining his plans. And so he decides to take matters into his own hands, since every other boss that Kirby's defeated has not gone his way. And ultimately gets defeated by Kirby. And he brings out the mind-controlling helmets to control Stardream to try to get rid of Kirby. But Susie snatches it from his hands, because Susie's main goal into getting back into the company is to get access to Stardream. And she tries to take control of Stardream, but that doesn't work. Stardream now has a mind of its own, and has taken control of Haltmann's body. Haltmann is no longer himself and is just being controlled by a massive supercomputer. Stardream then talks through Haltmann and proclaims that it has seen everything that the company has been doing, and its main goal is to have eternal prosperity for the company, and it has learned that all life should be extinguished to continue the company's prosperity. Starting with you. And so the final fight between Kirby and Stardream starts.
A Stardream falls from the sky as it's blasted from the stars by Kirby of the Halberd. It reactivates. In order to fully complete itself and complete its plan, it's going to need all of itself to defeat Kirby. It attaches to the access arc, removes it from the planet, and faces Kirby as a giant living mechanical star. Kirby and Meta Knight fight hard. With each shot, the faceplate of Stardream is removed. Familiar features begin to show themselves as the mechanical star seemingly roars and hisses at them. As the final faceplate is removed, Stardream vanishes. As it reappears in front of Kirby, to the sound of echoing clockwork, its glossy eyes open. It wasn't a clockwork star. Isn't just anything. A clockwork star is a galactic nova. Haltmann was attempting to recreate a galactic nova to have his wish granted. And now Kirby and Meta Knight see it in full force as Stardream roars with its cries of birth, and the entire world is altered around it into a tunnel of space-time. They fight and fight through the countdown as Stardream attempts to grant a wish that is impossible, to make Susie appear again. Though Susie is already here, and even if it could, Stardream is still incomplete. It cannot grant this wish, even if it wanted to. And so it's blasted out of the stars. And with the power of a mighty anime reference drill, it's ripped in two. The Robobot armor and the debris of the battle releases Kirby onto the planet below, and with Meta Knight's help, Kirby lands safely. Susie, who is still evil, just leaves. We don't know what's going on with her. She just leaves. She's still evil though, and the mechanization, for the most part, leaves Popstar as well. And now the day is saved. Hooray!
Hooray!
But just like Triple Deluxe, there is another side mode featuring an alternate scenario. This time, it's what if Meta Knight was not mechanized and goes on the adventure on his own. And so he does that, and he fights through all of the bad guys, of course. And when he gets to the end, he destroys Haltmann and faces Stardream himself. Stardream, though the space-time transfer program has been disabled, upon Meta Knight's request, and as recognizing Meta Knight as its new administrator, it reactivates the space-time transfer program, hoping to give Meta Knight a good challenge. Before it uses it, however, two clones that have remained unseen in the story mode appear to challenge Meta Knight due to their prowess with the blade. The first of which is a clone of dark matter, which Haltmann and his company procured by dubious means, perhaps by debris in space or a distant memory. Though it is a clone of dark matter, it is worth noting that the clone is unable to reach its true form and only does so upon defeat, in which it does not offer anything. The second of which is Sectonia, who has multiple records of the life form she's consumed, but her true form also is not seen until she's defeated, in which she, of course, as mentioned before, looks just like Terenza. And then, Stardream offers Meta Knight a final challenge, a fight with the strongest warrior in the galaxy, much like Nova offered Meta Knight in Kirby Superstar Ultra. Meta Knight faces off against Galactonite, who slashes Stardream, and perhaps in retaliation for summoning him and disturbing his slumber. Galactonite fights against Meta Knight. They clash swords, but Meta Knight is ultimately successful, and Galactonite is sucked back into his vortex to perhaps be seen another day. And that's the end of Meta Knight's journey. He just wanted some good fights, and he got it. So, that's the end of that little... He likes
fighting people.
Yep, that's the end of that little non-canon shenanigan. However, this story is technically continued in the True Arena. And the True Arena is contextualized as being a combat evaluation program, sort of like a continuously running system, perhaps within Stardream's own mind. Just before the end, you fight Galactonite, and we're gonna have some footage on screen here. If you notice, the way that Galactonite enters in Meta Nightmare Returns and this mode are actually different. The way that Galactonite was defeated in the previous battle is how he returns in this one. And he also ends up being defeated in a different way, similar to how he was defeated in Superstar Ultra. What does this mean? We have no idea. That's up to you. Leave a comment down below.
Maybe they just wanted to do it for fun, who knows?
Yeah. However, the Stardream fight also continues off of the Galactonite situation. Because Galactonite left such a critical wound on Stardream, they activated a new program, the Soul Operating System, which allows Stardream to basically complete itself almost, and begins looking more like Nova, as it is almost a fully perfect clockwork star. But even then, Kirby is still able to defeat it. But Stardream does get the upper hand on him. Stardream completely disarms Kirby, leaving him without his robot armor and the halberd, as Kirby fights inside Stardream. With each hit to Stardream's parts, you can hear Haltmann crying out as his soul is being deleted. As we mentioned before, Stardream had been siphoning memories from Haltmann, perhaps in an attempt to complete itself. And now that Haltmann is inside of Stardream, those memories are coming back to him. In the final battle, he remembers, finally, what his dream was. His wish was to see his daughter again. And as he remembers, he laughs at himself, thinking of it as being so silly. Such a silly wish that could never come true. But it's up to interpretation what that means. Surely he knows his daughter is Susie at this point, now that his mind has been returned. Perhaps even then, it's unrecognizable to him. Or maybe just the distance that has grown between him and Susie and the time that she's been gone. Maybe she just isn't the person he remembers anymore. He didn't raise Susie. Would she really be called his daughter? And that is the end of Kirby Planet Robot. The Haltmann Works Company will continue under Susie's lead. We're uncertain if well, they certainly don't have the ability to take over planets anymore, but it is likely that Susie will probably continue his Haltmann's intentions to some extent. It remains to be seen what Susie really wants. Hopefully, she'll at least go down a better route, but we'll just have to wait and see. Woman's wrongs, am I right? Woman's wrongs.
Woman's wrongs, yeah.
Yep. Up next, we're taking a bit of a detour. We've been talking about not Magolor for a pretty long time. I think we've been talking about too much not Magolor, right? Like.
Yeah. So we had previously mentioned the place where Magolor ended up. At the end of Magolor's epilogue. This is where he ends up. The next two games. I think they're both continuations of each other. Team Kirby Clash Deluxe and Super Kirby Clash is where the story starts in the Dream Kingdom. Yep. An ancient kingdom from a distant past.
Yep. We're gonna talk about Magolor mostly. So great. We'll see you when we talk about that in like literally a couple seconds. We're gonna see.
Yeah, literally a couple seconds.
Okay. I don't like this game.